Moro. Moro is a tremendously dangerous fugitive with immense magical powers from the 7th universe and an archenemy of the Galactic Patrol. Moro, known as Planet Eater Moro or Moro, Consumer of Worlds, is a powerful wizard who threatened Universe 7 about 10 million years ago. He is the main antagonist of the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. 10 million years ago, Moro was an immensely dangerous individual who caused mass extinction on 320 worlds and destroyed at least 2 other planets. Sometime afterwards, he fought and nearly defeated the Grand Kaioshin and South Kaioshin on an unknown planet. During the battle, he used his magical powers to destroy a planet by devouring the life force of its inhabitants. In order to defeat him, the Daikaoshin unleashed a god technique to seal away Moro's power, allowing him to be taken into custody by the Galactic Patrol. Appearance: Moro is a large alien, dwarfing raspberry in size, who looked like an anthropomorphic goat. He had blue skin, red eyes, and curved horns, as well as long white beard. In his old, frail state, he is extremely thin with a humped back, pencil-thin arms, large hands, and long fingers with jagged black fingernails. When he was first introduced, he wore a ragged and torn brown cloak. He later removed this cloak, revealing an armored torso with fur pauldrons. He wears baggy pants held up by a fur pelt around his waist and a belt with an odd emblem on it. He also wears wrappings around his arms and legs. As he gets younger, his body mass increases and the white beard he had starts to shrink as he absorbs more ki. Moro appears as a towering humanoid goat with blue skin and 2 horns on the sides of his head that curl around to point forward near his cheeks. He has long pointy ears, pronounced brow ridges, long dark nails, and brown tufts of fur on his shoulders. His snout possesses a lighter blue color with linings noticeably present on each side of his snout. He dresses in long red robes with a hood and has baggy dark pants with a fur pelt wrapped around his waist and white bandages around his wrists and ankles. After eons of imprisonment and drained of most of his power, his appearance became very elderly with a scrawny, if not malnourished, frame. He stands in a slouch with a hunchback, has deep wrinkles, and sports a long, shaggy white beard reaching his abdomen. After absorbing all of Goku and Vegeta's energy, Moro became noticeably younger looking with proper posture and no hump plus fewer wrinkles. He also became fairly muscular, and his beard shrunk to reach his collarbone. After taking almost all of New Namek's energy, Moro's beard shrunk to a trimmed length, and had only minor wrinkles. Once he absorbed the last bit of life energy on New Namek, Moro's beard disappeared while regaining a very youthful and well-muscled appearance. When he has been partway restored, Moro's aura is a purple color. In his prime and after he has absorbed 7-3, when using his full power, Moro possesses an orange aura. The symbol on Moro's belt is the letter A in the Galactic Patrol's language. Abilities: Moro is noted to have a small but horrifying ki signature, one that manages to unnerve Son Goku. Much like Imperfect Cell, it was noted to feel as if many people were screaming in pain. Magical abilities: Moro has the ability to perform a unique brand of magic. With his magic, Moro has access to a host of special abilities. For example, he can scan the universe for planets with life. He can also detect when someone else is attempting to search for him by sensing his energy. Additionally, he is able to sense the Dragon Balls, a trait no other being has yet displayed. His magic also grants him access to more mundane abilities, like telekinesis, though its power is considerable, even able to surprise and thrash Vegeta. 10 million years ago, he had enough magical power to wipe out life on 320 worlds, and entirely destroy 2 others. After escaping incarceration, he only has a fragment of this power, which makes the mere act of scanning the universe for life draining to the point of taking him to his limits. However, Moro's magic is not without limitations. Mysteriously, it does not seem to affect Majin Buu, which is seemingly related to Buu's absorption of the Grand Kaioshin eons ago. Energy absorption: Moro's most dangerous magical ability, and the one which made him both famous and feared, was his ability to absorb life energy. Moro has no need of great ki like the Scions to fight. Instead, he increases his magical power by absorbing the life energy of living beings and entire planets. He can also absorb the energy bullets from the Galactic Patrol's weaponry. More frightening is that his absorption ability is passive, allowing him to casually siphon the energy of his enemies as he fights. This ability allowed him to rob Son Goku and Vegeta of their power, leaving them incapable of transforming into Super Saiyan Blue. Energy manipulation: E can also manipulate the life energy of a planet, allowing him to control nature. For example, he could manipulate the life energy of New Namek to summon forth jets of lava from beneath the surface, or he could shape the pure life energy into an energy attack similar to a Genki Dama, which he can also eat to increase his power dramatically. He can maintain this ability until the planet runs out of energy and, thus, dies, and without using a single drop of his own energy. His magic is strongest on planets with abundant life. In his weakened state, however, his magic was ill-suited to keep up with the likes of Vegeta in his Super Saiyan Blue evolved state. Moro was able to accomplish all of this with only a fragment of his magical power, as only a small portion of it has returned to him after 10 million years. However, after absorbing a small fragment of new Namek's power, his magical energy increases to the point that both Vegeta and Goku realize that they cannot defeat him without Super Saiyan Blue. Physical abilities. Despite being a more magical rather than martial combatant, Moro has some capabilities as a fighter. In spite of his advanced age, and being out of practice, he was capable of dodging a Super Saiyan Vegeta's initial attacks. He was not, however, capable of keeping up with Vegeta's Super Saiyan God transformation. After absorbing some of new Namek's life energy, though, Moro's physical abilities increased to the point that he was able to easily catch off guard and overwhelm Vegeta. Abilities. Techniques. Flight, the ability to fly through the use of Ki. Ki Blast, the most basic form of energy wave. Ki sense awareness of Moro is capable of telling when someone is sensing his energy, surprising the sensor. Telekinesis, a technique that allows the user to manipulate objects and other people with the power of one's mind. Psychic Rock Throw, Moro is capable of throwing comets. Psycho Javelin, Moro summons a tree trunk skewer and launches it at the opponent with his telekinesis to inflict a high amount of damage. Magic, though having an impressive power level, Moro's true strength lies in magic. With it, he is able to absorb and manipulate life energy as well as levitate objects and numerous other abilities. Life energy manipulation. Energy absorption, Moro is able to gather all life on a planet into an energy ball, which he then consumes, making him stronger than before. Moro is able to select a target and steadily drain their energy without them even being aware. He can choose to target an entire planet and steadily drain its energy, though the only living beings affected if he does this will be those in contact with the ground. He is also able to keep this ability up whilst engaged in combat. Moro is also capable of swallowing blasts of Ki. When draining energy from a living target, the energy will drain far faster if the target is not concentrating on Moro. This was displayed while Goku and Vegeta were engaged in combat with other foes, causing them to drop to weaker forms at a rapid pace. Energy is food for Moro, and so he will stop consuming it if he is full. Eternal life, Moro is able to increase his lifespan by draining the lives of others, seemingly without end, and was able to survive 10 million years with the energy he gathered. However, he will eventually die of natural causes if he is kept from a source of life energy. Fire and flames, thanks to his magic, Moro is able to manipulate the life energy of the planet he is on for offensive and defense usage. Such usage appears as a flaming pillar. He is capable of doing this until the planet he is utilizing runs out of energy. Ray Blast, with enough absorbed energy, Moro surrounds himself with an aura which releases numerous bolts of lightning-like energy blasts. Scanning, utilizing his magic, Moro is capable of scanning the cosmos. He used this ability to locate the universe's life and new Namek. He can also scan the area to sense specific individuals. Dragon Ball sensing, after having observed enough of the Namekian Dragon Balls, Moro displayed the ability to sense their locations. After image sorcery, using his magic, Moro can create illusionary duplicates of himself to fool his opponents, but they dissipate upon being hit. Wizard barrier, using his magic, Moro can create an energy shield around his body. Mind reading, using his magic, Moro can force an opponent to relive a memory from their past, with Moro himself being able to see the memory as it unfolds. Imprisonment ball, using his magic, Moro encases his opponent's limbs in balls of energy to immobilize them after waving his hand in close proximity. Full power energy ball, using his magic, Moro can absorb energy into an energy sphere to manipulate, which he can use offensively, or convert into a small energy ball to consume. Alternatively, he can create an energy ball of his own Ki to throw at his target. Energy shield, using his magic, Moro shoots a ball of energy into the sky above him which expands and encapsulates a large area, trapping anyone inside with Moro and preventing anyone on the outside from breaking in. Ki transfer, Moro can transfer energy to others to empower them. He did so to his fellow Galactic Patrol prisoners to greatly enhance their strength. Ki smoke bomb, Moro fires off energy blasts to create a smokescreen. Ruthless blow, Moro pierces the target's torso with his arm. Used to kill the Namekian savior. Mouth energy wave, Moro is able to shoot an energy wave from his mouth. He initially used it to blast Majin Buu's head off, but was proven ineffective due to Buu's regenerative abilities. After amplifying his power, he used this to injure Ultra Instinct Goku. After image technique, Moro can create afterimages by moving fast to fool his opponents. Absorption. Moro is capable of absorption. Through one method he encases his target in energy and then forcefully eats them whole, absorbing the target and gaining their abilities. Possession. After copying Meru's powers, Moro can go as far as to fuse his body with an entire planet such as the Earth, taking control of the entire planet and removing the limits of his organic body. Copy ability. After absorbing 7-3, Moro gains the ability to copy all of the powers of another entity by touching the back of their neck. However, the ability requires the orbs on his body to work, and if they are shattered, this ability will be nullified, preventing Moro from acquiring any new abilities, with Meru's also sealing the ability off. Moro regained one of his orbs from a hand that was cut off, however. Moro also has no time limit on the abilities that 7-3 copied from Piccolo, Gohan and Moro himself. Piccolo's powers that 7-3 copied from Piccolo, retained by Moro. Special beam cannon. Moro fires a piercing spiraling energy beam from his pointer and middle fingers. Regeneration. Moro can instantly restore any damage or lost anatomy with no lingering signs. Demon hand. Moro can extend his arms to tremendous lengths and likewise bend them about as he pleases. Telepathy. Moro can telepathically communicate with others and listen in on telepathy exchanged between others. Eye laser. Moro shoots laser-like beams from both eyes. 7-3 displayed Piccolo's explosive demon wave, explosive breath cannon, Hellzone grenade, super Namekian and great Namekian abilities through copying him, thus though he has not displayed them Moro is able to use them too. Gohan's powers that 7-3 copied from Gohan, retained by Moro. 7-3 displayed Gohan's Masenden, Gekuretsu Maden and potential unleashed abilities through copying him, thus though he has not displayed them Moro is able to use them too. Vegeta's powers copied from Vegeta. Big Bang attack. Moro fires an energy sphere from his palm. Spirit control. Having copied Vegeta, Moro gained his spirit control abilities. Forced spirit fission. As noted by Piccolo, Moro gained this ability, thus rendering the Z Fighter's last resort fusion techniques unusable. Gallic beam used to incapacitate androids 17 and 18. Meru's powers copied from Meru's. Autonomous Ultra Instinct used by Moro the moment he gains Meru's abilities. His body reacts automatically during combat and can increase his defenses instinctively. Body manipulation. After absorbing himself into the earth, Moro could alter his body's shape to a great degree, being able to sculpt his own head and face from a hillside and generate multiple arms as he required them. He could continue to grow and shift his appearance, concealing the gem on his forehead which was his greatest weakness. Self-destruction. After absorbing himself into the earth, Moro effectively became a giant bomb that was going to self-destruct and wipe out the entire galaxy, however he was defeated before this could occur. Restoration. Having aged into a decrepit state, Moro is able to restore himself to superior health and power through absorbing large quantities of energy. Each stage of restoration shrinks Moro's facial hair whilst enlarging his muscles. However, losing this stolen energy will cause him to revert to a prior stage of restoration, until he inevitably returns to his decrepit state. Transformed. After having been reverted to his weakened and malnourished state by Vegeta's forced spirit fission, Moro absorbs 7-3, who had a copy of Moro's highest level of power, by devouring him whole. In addition to restoring him to a youthful prime and well-muscled state, unlike his previous power boosts, Moro underwent a noticeable transformation. He lost his goat-like facial structure as his snout becomes flat and humanoid with a nose. Similar to Cell in his perfect form, he noticeably possesses stripes that covers the lower sides of his face, while they take on a dark color. His facial features also become more like 7-3's, including possessing one spherical half-gem on his forehead while the other two are now on his palms. His horns become noticeably shorter in length but thicker in size, with his horns' curvature now less curled and taking on a hook-like curve that points in a downward angle toward his face. The tufts of fur on his shoulder have noticeably shrunk in size and now extends to cover the backside of his neck while the fur pelt around his waist is absent, instead covering the shins of his legs. Transformed Moro is far more powerful than before, having combined his own remaining might with 7-3's natural might and the stored-up ones, including the copy of Moro's previous highest power. Also in this form, Moro has access to all of 7-3's abilities, including limitless stamina and copying the capacities of anyone whose neck he touches. Unlike 7-3 however, he is not limited to only 3 targets to copy and has no time limit to how long he can maintain them. However, if all the gems on his being are destroyed, Moro loses his ability to copy any newer capacities or access his previous ones. When copying Vegeta to use his attacks, Moro's aura becomes the same as that of Super Saiyan Blue's initial aura. Copy Angel Power. Perfected Ultra Instinct. By regaining the cut-off hand that grabbed Meru's neck, which still housed a gem, and attaching it to his severed wrist, Moro transformed once more. While mainly the same in appearance as previously, his brown fur turned white, and his facial stripes become lighter in color. Initially, Moro possessed one of 7-3's orbs on his hand but moved it to his head after completing the transformation. In this state, he also possesses heavier musculature than before. In addition to regaining his power to copy other people's abilities, he achieved the angel's tremendous power and access to perfected Ultra Instinct. With his power, Moro could fight physically on par with perfected Ultra Instinct Goku. However, lacking the proper training and experience, the more his body reacts to extreme conditions, the more his body gets overwhelmed and begins engorging to contain the immense divine power of Meru's. Earth absorbed. Because his body could not withstand Meru's angel power, Moro needed a proper body to contain that power. In desperation, he absorbs himself into the earth itself, becoming one with it. According to Whis, if Moro is killed while fused with the planet, with his newly acquired power, the resulting explosion would destroy the entire galaxy. While absorbing himself into the earth allowed him to retain control for a time, as he absorbed more energy from the earth, the size of his manifestation from it increased, causing Moro to go mad with power. His facial features eventually returned to their prior goat-like look, only more engorged and distorted. Equipment. Moro's spaceship, the spacecraft used by the Galactic Bandit Brigade in their rampage of Universe 7. It later becomes the headquarters of Moro and the Galactic Patrol Prisoners who serve him. Sends a beamed mystical beings with immense rejuvenation properties. Moro was given one by Goku.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.